Awesome, guys. So as I like to do in my other interviews, I'd like to ask you guys a couple of questions about you as authors before we get kicking on your novels. To start off with a simple question, when were you first inspired to become an author and start getting your writing out there? And let's start with Wilna.
Okay, I was going to go like, this is Wilnona, but I feel like, since you already said Wilna, I think as people know.
Oh, yeah.
I started writing when I was 7 because some teacher told me I was amazing at writing. And I was like, oh, me, little me. I'm going to write forever now. I mean, before I was a writer, at 5, I came home and told my parents I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. They were so happy. And then I came home at 7 and said I want to be a writer. They were supportive, but they canceled their homes for Florida. Like retirement homes in Florida. And I was like, I want to be a writer. Call the people, no retirement homes in Florida. And I got published when I was 10 years old. It was my first thing I ever republished. Wow. And I think that's the beginning of my writing journey.
Okay.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, she has like a great writing journey. Like this is Jade, and my writing journey sounds like nothing compared to hers, right? So Wilnona is my best friend in the world. For y'all that don't know, she's my best friend in the world. And I told her to return to writing poetry. And then she was all like, oh, you want me to be broke? And then she dragged me into writing this poetry book with her kicking and screaming, me going, no, I can't do it. Stop, don't pick me. Okay, fine, you're my best friend. I'll do it.
So wait. Was it Wilna? So am I saying your name right? Wilnona?
I don't really care how you say it, but it's
just
don't call me late for dinner because I'll be really mad. But oh no, my name is Wilnona. Well, I just said I don't care and then broke it down.
I just broke it down. I feel like you do care on a low key though.
All right, awesome. So was it Wilnona who inspired you to become an author?
No, she dragged me, kicking and screaming. Okay. I didn't have a choice. She was like, well, if I gotta write a poetry book and you gotta write a poetry writing.
This is Wilnona, and I just want to clarify the
story.
Really?
You're gonna clarify it? Okay. All right.
Because I don't want people thinking that I'm an evil person. I am a narcissist after all, and people must think I'm wonderful. I'm joking.
Wow. Those are like literally two things that don't go together. Okay, anyway, back to the story.
Back to my story. Thank you. So what happened was right. Mm-hmm. So she said, Jay turns to me and goes, you should go back to writing. And I wanted to write one final book before I gave up on my writing career. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, I'm going to write a genre book. And she said, no, you have to write poetry because you're really good at poetry. And I was like, poets don't make money. So you just want me to be poor. So thank you for letting me to be poor.
Thanks, bestie.
And then
smart with it too. Bestie.
And so then I was like, okay, if you want me to write poetry, you have to write.
First she said, what would I even call this book? And I was like, and I thought divorce was bad. Boom! But she had nothing, and I had something for it.
And now it's kind of rough because everybody asked the question about how we got started, and every interview, and we've been interviewed over 1,000 times. So over 1,000 times, Jade goes, "I was right."
I was right. Like, so y'all out there to start a business venture with your best friend, be careful. Be careful. They might give you the advice to start your whole career again. Yeah. And they might be like 1,000 times. This is amazing. Literally 1,000 times.
When Jade said she came in kicking and screaming, she literally came in kicking and screaming. I don't want to ride. But the really funny part is she now has the award of the 2019 Poet of the Year for the award. So I don't have that.
That's a great start, guys. So tell us a bit about your background. Did you guys grow up in America?
Yes, we grew up in America.
Wouldn't it be cool if we grew up some other place?
I know. I was like, no, I grew up in Germany. Like that would be amazing. But no, just America.
I was born in America, grew up in America.
Yeah.
So what part of America, guys?
So we live in Maryland, which is close to DC.
We live 30 minutes east of Washington, DC.
Awesome. So how has writing progressed for you over the years? Have you guys started a novel and decided to drop it in pursuit of something else?
Well, Winona,
there was this one time I started a novel, and then 8 years later,
he finished it out.
he finished the novel. Like during COVID, I was like, well, it's been 8 years. I should finish it. I actually had to ask another author for help because I do not write romance, and it was a romance novel. And I had to ask another author for assistance to write.
Because every time she
novel.
went to write the trope, she was like, but I don't like it. I don't want her to end up with the guy. I was like, come on, it's romance. You can end up with the guy.
I was like, she should love herself, and that should be enough. Not a romance book, go figure. So that's only happened to me once. Every other book I normally start and I finish within months or weeks.
Amazing. So last time we had an interview, we were talking about how you were writing books to fund your uni. Could you go through that story with us again a little bit?
So I wrote.
Don't forget to say this is Winona, by the way.
This is Winona.
Okay, yeah.
And I wrote 26 novels because when I started writing at 12, I wrote a weird genre. And people liked it. So I was like, okay, here, read my novel. And then after a while, I was like, hey, give me $5 to read my novel. And then that started because my mom was like, you're running through notebooks and pens really fast. And I buy them for you to go to school, not write novels. So she's like, you're going to have to supply your own notebooks and pens. So I was like, $5 to read the novel, please. And so I would keep three and give them 2 back. I can't remember if it was 3 or 2.
No, you kept, you kept 2 and give them 3 back.
I kept 2 and gave them 3. I thought that's what it was. I kept $2 and gave them 3 back.
Early.
Yeah. And then, so the $3 was to secure the fact that my notebook would come back to me. Because like I would write it as the original copy and they were reading it. And and the $2 was for me to buy new notebooks and pens. And then after a while, I got fans that were grown-ups up and down the East Coast of America. So then I would have to mail it. They'd mail me $5 and I would mail them the notebook that I had just written. So I started writing I wrote 26 novels within 1 year because I knew I was going to go to college and I wasn't going to have time to write, but I was going to need the money. Amazing. So I went up on my prices, obviously, and people still mailed me the money. So then that way I could, have the extra cash I needed to buy things while in college. So whenever I needed like extra cash, my parents would be like, I can't buy that for you. And I was like, hold on. I'm all right on that.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Well, I love it. So this is a pretty broad question, but I tend to ask it with each writer. How has your life experiences developed your writing over the years?
Oh, my life experience had nothing to do with the books I wrote when I was 12. I
wrote of course. And let's start with so people don't get confused. How about we start with Jade this time?
Okay, so I guess it's held. Over the 5-6 years I've been over the years. Sure, over the years. We do this really fun thing called. In our books, we put like life lessons or biscuit recipe with a quote. So our books take you through things like and I thought it was easy. It has layer base, and there was like 2 cups of flour, right? So it's like a biscuit recipe. And so I think baking really influenced that book.
He loves the book.
I do love the bake. So that influenced that book. Just different life lessons that we've learned along the way. Really kind of follow our poetry, I think. Winona, I was trying to be educated right there. Anything else to say?
Let me give the university.
Yeah, give the university. Pop your collar.
I'm gonna pop my collar and give you.
Go ahead, do it. Right there. You the answer. Here we go.
So I think if you go through the other interviews, you know exactly how it has helped it's been part of my life experiences written down. I went through an emotionally abusive relationship. It was really bad. And I thought divorce was bad. Talks about
with other life lessons.
With other life lessons, talk about an emotionally abusive relationship.
Imagine that.
And recovery. So I think I had a little bit to do with my life, just a tit.
Yeah.
And then the biscuit recipe she talked about was my late mother's biscuit recipe. It was the only book she read before she died. That I have written. So yeah, that was kind of nice. And then of course, when we redid it, we wrote poems about my late mother and her effect on our life. And then I think the rest of the books, Well, the rest of we call the books pop poetry, life lessons. Oh, I'm sorry.
And we call them literary life guides with pop poetry.
Literary, I've got to write this
So,
down.
like-
Literary life guides.
Where you
Life guides with pop culture.
pop poetry.
Pop poetry.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
it's funny because when we write the life lessons, or like what she was saying, like we have something that pulls you through our book, through our poetry book. So it's not like a normal poetry
And that was a
book.
beta reader's like suggestion, y'all.
So
Yeah.
it's like a narrative that will pull you through poetry. Like in I Thought I Did My Journey Alone, you actually have the story of a traveler.
Yeah.
That is the chapter, and then the poetry is about the traveler and what they feel and things like that.
That's
and
great.
It's written from the perspective of different women. So this is what's interesting, is because we have to write those chapters, or because we have to write why laying, like 2 cups of flour means laying a base, means the beginning of independence. You have to think about your life and what it meant for you when you were looking at that moment in your life to get independence. What is independence to you? What would you tell someone in one sentence to say, this is the beginning of your life? And that makes us like always put our life in it.
So y'all,
Uni
I want to say, you see that uni answer, high five.
Yeah, uni answer. Yeah, that's great. So you just touched on it. Well, you just said before, but I'll sort of go deeper with this question. What themes or settings do you like to focus on as writers?
For my genre, I love, for the one I've been writing the longest, I have an urban city that I get to like, I've never named. So it's all the settings, it's everything I want in an urban city. So I love that one.
Let's see what like themes. I actually really do enjoy writing the misfit guides, because it's something like about, it gets to show our quirky side. We're very quirky, if y'all didn't know.
Yeah.
We're very quirky, and it gets to show our like quirky side of how we don't quite fit in, but almost. We almost fit in. So close, so close.
It's like that puzzle piece that looks so close to it, but it's just like 3 centimeters too big, and you're like, if you could just That's us.
That's a, almost so close.
And I think that really does show in all of our books.
So close to me.
Awesome, guys. So how do you manage your writing? Do you prefer to write early in the mornings, late at nights?
Early in the mornings, I'm asleep. Early in the morning, I'm still getting my beauty rest early in the morning. Well, actually, depending on what kind of early in the morning. You're talking like 2 o'clock in the morning a.m. Maybe I'm writing. Maybe I'm writing. Like 8. No, I'm definitely asleep. I'm definitely asleep at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So for us, we actually wrote an article about this for a Hollywood like sort of
Stage
blog,
32.
stage 32, about how you write, because we were on tour 26 weeks out of the year before COVID. Oh, and this is WILNONA. So we were on tour 26 weeks out of the year. It was really hard, but like we learned how to write, and we found spots in airports to write. Like the London airport at Gatwick, upstairs next to the payphones, there's like this quiet little spot right next to the Weatherspoons. We sit down there, we're right while we waited for the plane. Like we know this great place in the Colorado airport, like that sort of stuff.
But it also is about carving out the time, right? This is Jaden, it's like carving out the time. So I'm not quite a morning person, but I'm not quite a night person either. So
yeah.
But you carve out that time, even if it's not long and it might not be every day, but we set ourselves a deadline. Like we're like, this is what we're gonna do. And then and I'm like, I think we're like every other writer that procrastinates, and they were like, oh, we gotta do it. So
in that case of procrastination, we have this favorite bar that we go to where the bartender is a literary graduate.
Tell them about your procrastination though, just a little bit, WILNONA. She's been procrastinating on this book, and literally WILNONA texted me and was like, I'm exercising. And I was like, stop playing. We're supposed to be writing this book. She's like, oh, I have to do like 20 more minutes of exercise. Procrastination.
That's when I had to write a post. I'm like, you know, you're procrastinating. You're like, one more round of exercise before I start chapter for the next chapter. But like, we procrastinate real bad, and we end up going to like this one bar where we find a lot of inspiration, and it's kind of cool because
Not to drink, y'all.
not really, yeah,
Not really to drink, but just to like people watch and get a little inspiration.
Yeah. Awesome. So final author related question. And then this is a bit quirky, and I ask it with each writer. If you guys could do something during your adult life to become better writers, what would you do?
swap brains with who do I want to swap brains with? James Patterson, yeah, so I could have his career. But for real, I think I would want to travel more.
Yeah.
Have more life experiences.
Awesome.
Oh, that was an amazing answer now. And now I'm gonna have to be like, buy better pens.
That's good, Jade. That's good.
Like, I'm not being funny. Like, cause the pen never writes. I'll be like, I'm so inspired. And you're like, why can't I find a pen? Buy better and more pens.
Great. I like that. Well done, Jade. Awesome. So getting onto your books now, guys, can you tell us a little bit about the books you published and also about their names and just a little bit of a background on them?
Okay, so I'm gonna be like, this is Jade, and we have the And I Thought series and the Misfit Guide series, and those are our literary life guides with pop poetry books.
So I also write the Widow's Debt series, and then I wrote stuff like Foreign Coffee and Free Falling and Loving It.
Awesome. And
So
what
you said to tell us you a little bit about them.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what genre they are, what sort of audience we're looking at when we're sort of marketing these books.
So technically, our literary life guides with pop poetry are technically anthologies, but we don't call them that, technically. But they're not. They're literary life guides with pop poetry.
So the thing is that these books, they tend to like talk about, for And I Thought Divorce Was Bad, it talks about life as a woman with 5 different women in it.
No, it's only 6.
6?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
You always
7,
miscount them.
8 with 8 different
because
women.
We have a couple. Literally,
we had a second edition with more people.
We had a second edition, so
yeah. So it goes from the ages of.
We don't talk ages anymore. Because some people in our group were like, wait, we got old, we can't.
That is all right.
So we promise that we won't talk ages anymore. So we don't talk ages, okay?
That's the thing. They're in different places.
And they're alive.
We also like settling down for the first time, finding the guy you fall in love with, to or person you fell in love with, to like being an empty nester and the kids leaving house. So like in between that, there's like so much stuff in between that. And I thought being grown up was easy covers from I'm gonna stop after this one. After this one, I'm stopping, I promise.
Oh, okay.
Because it's boring to hear about our book.
I was like, woo, we're going into it.
Like, okay. And I thought grown up was easy. It's like it covers from when you graduate until like you like leave college and fall in love.
So we do have to say, like, one of my favorite things on And I Thought Being Grown Up Was Easy is the 25 things they forgot to tell you before 25, which is really fun because we got to go around and like ask different older people. And it was really, really fun.
Like, what would you wish you had known before you turned 25? And
yeah, so we were like just writing them all down. Like, this is for our book.
I'm curious to know, guys. So how much books have you guys like collectively published together?
17.
17. Awesome. So do you guys tend to write sorry, this is going off my question. So we have 17 books that you've collectively written together. Have you got like books on the side that you've written by yourself?
Well, no, guys. I'm not the person. Remember, she dragged me kicking and screaming.
Okay, awesome.
Like for the first time ever, she wrote an entire short story by herself. It was okay. Famous House Cleaners.
It was all right. I was like, please edit everything. Thank you. And
I wrote, as I said before, I wrote Widow's Debt series. That was the one I started when I was 12. You want me to tell you what it's about?
Oh wait, we gotta talk about Foreign Coffee and how that's a really cool book.
Oh, I'm about to say, and then for coffee.
Tell them why it's cool though. Because Pouring Coffee is a short story that we put in, and I thought divorce was bad. But then we took the story out and expanded it and made it into like this a full like novella. Yeah. So it went from a short story, and we call it a lady's tale, because now we told it in a different way, and it's really cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, so like the first time it was about a lady running from an abusive husband, and the second time it's about a woman finding love after her husband passed away.
Yeah.
So like it was such a good premise, and like she runs off to Athens, Greece.
Yeah.
And yeah, I did run off to Athens, Greece to go have fun and find myself. So it's a little bit on my life. Just
a Awesome. So coming back to the 17 books that you guys have written, did you plan out these books, or did you guys sort of just get together and let your minds rip?
They were never clear. We were like, we are gonna write one, and then I was like, oh, thank goodness, because I don't know if I have another poem in there. Oh, thank goodness. Because they're not gonna okay. Woo, and then 17 books later, I'm still like, I think this is the last one. Oh, thank goodness. I don't know if I have any more poems.
It was not planned at all. So it was just one day we were sitting there and we were like, oh, we should write this one. And then like, I think it was a couple months after, and I thought divorce was bad. Yeah, it was just like, we should write. And I thought being grown up was easy. and then we had to write something down, but we're like, this is absolutely the last one. We're never writing another one again. Winona's gonna go back to her and it's gonna be fine. And like, I'm telling you, 17 books later, we're like, this is absolutely the last Misfit, guys. We're never gonna. I think like this one that we're writing, I'm like, this one was hard. This one was hard, so this might be the absolute last one. This might be the last one. It's called And I Thought I Knew You. It is a poetry murder mystery book. It is a murder mystery book. Awesome. Poetry. So this might be it, y'all. I think this is the last. We're never gonna do another.
All right, guys. So, were there any particular writers or artists that you look to while writing these books for inspiration?
Let me think about that. That's a really.
So when I write Widow's Debt, I look to Camilla Monk, because good God, she perfected. Like it's everything that I like. When I was 12, I dreamed of what I wanted my book to be. And then when I read Camilla Monk, I recognized it was everything my 12-year-old self dreamed. So like when I go to sit down to write it now, I'm like, if I could be as good as Camilla. Go ahead and tell us what inspired us to write in the first place. What book started it all?
Oh, so the book that started her series and me reading was Mickey Spillane, Black Alley. Yes, y'all, for everyone that's listening out there, and if you have young children, know that they are reading the books on your bookshelf. Just in case you didn't think they were. My dad was like, I didn't think you would ever find that book. I surely did. And read it. It was so good.
And then when I read that book, it was the first, before that, I wrote little like short stories that were very cute, and they were for a very young audience, like 10 to 12. And then I read Mickey Spillane, and I said, that's it, I'm writing gangsta books.
Awesome.
But like,
I like it.
You asked me what were the books that I wrote before I went to college. Yeah. And that was what happened. Those were all those years, those readers are all from the gangsta.
Mickey's fine. What
he was like, I'm determined to write one as good as Mickey Spillane.
Now, as it comes to poetry,
I
don't hope to be good.
Right? I just hope one day that I could just be like, maybe take a little bit of that pop off my poetry. That's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We'll see one day.
I don't have like someone like I'm gonna be them one day. I'm just like, I just want to be good.
I just want to be okay.
Yeah, awesome. So we touched on this before, but we probably can go over it again. Tell me a little bit about your themes in your books. What type of feelings are you trying to evoke from your writing?
Feelings of
a feeling to write a review.
Good
answer. So at the end, when you turn on the last page, you're like, and I write a review.
Yes, good or bad. Y'all, when we say good, bad, or ugly, I'm like, seriously.
And don't leave one that says no, Wilnona is ugly. I do not accept that.
Well, we'll accept that too, as long as they give you stars.
Yeah, the book place, the place that you're reviewing, we're like, okay, that's fine, but I'm gonna read it and be like, I do not accept.
We're joking. Absolutely. Give her as many stars or little stars as you want to.
Exactly.
It's your review.
I guess we should answer that seriously.
Oh, we should.
Yeah, I was gonna ask. You want to answer it seriously?
So, and I thought divorce was bad. This is Wilnona. And I thought divorce was bad. Really, I really wanted to tell someone I wanted to get a way to explain to someone what emotional abuse is, what it looks like, how it feels. Because a lot of times when people are going through emotional abuse, they don't recognize it, and the people around them don't see it, and they're just like, get over it, you'll be fine, he didn't hit you. Like, I want you to see it, understand it. Like, you feel emotional abuse. And that's why we chose poetry as a form. First of all, because when you're young, you remember poems. Hickory dickory dock, the mouse went up the clock. That's right. So you know that. And so your brain is set to remember poems, especially
predisposed to remember them.
Right, especially couplets. So that's why we chose poetry, so it's to be something you can remember. And the second thing is so that it can evoke an emotion. And so if your emotion when you read this poem matches the emotion you feel in that relationship, maybe you're in an emotionally abusive
Maybe you want to stop and think.
I just want you to evaluate and figure out, because it was so many years and so much pain in that relationship. So that's what I hope to do with that book.
Yeah. Oh God.
Dang, that was serious.
That was serious. Oh. You went. I love it. Well, no, way to go. Way to go. The feeling that I hope to invoke when people read the book is our books, is maybe belonging, right? You don't always have to fit in to be. You'll be okay. You don't fit in. It's okay. You'll fit in with someone else or somewhere else, or you'll find people just as quirky as you are, and you'll be fine.
Yeah. That's awesome, Jade and Wilnona. I love that. So did you find you guys changed at all as people while writing these books? Were there any new things you discovered about yourself in the process?
Jade, I discovered that I could write.
Discovery! And she's good at it.
And I'm okay at it, but yay, discovery!
When we wrote the second book, I was like, okay, I think I'm tired. And she came and gave me the poetry, and I was like, oh, it saved the book. What?
I might have saved it. I don't remember where to go.
What was the question?
It's later.
Okay, discovered about myself. I did. Oh God, I'm gonna be serious again. I hate this. I discovered that while writing it was of course, writing is great therapy, and it really did help heal. And Jade is my best friend, so she stopped. She didn't have to hear all the stories that I was sad because my ex-husband was mean. And, oh my God.
One day after we finished writing the book, I turned to her and I was like, I haven't heard a story about your ex in 3 months. She's like, I hadn't thought about him. I was like, yes. And then I discovered, yes, victory. I was like, all right, we're getting somewhere. So y'all, really, write your feelings down. Might help you.
So this question sort of applies to writers a bit like me, who go through the periods of self-doubt, they don't believe what they're writing in, stuff like that. How do you guys continue on writing and push books out there, despite feelings of self-doubt and, things like bad reviews or things not going your way? How do you guys keep on pushing forward?
And I thought being grown up was easy. It was written because someone gave us a bad review.
Yeah. And then we read the review.
Awesome.
And then we were like, okay, well, we can address that. Also, I want to say, this is Jade, I have a Wilnona, and Wilnona has me. So even on those bad days, we look at each other and we like, but are we doing what we love and are we having fun? Yes. Well, let's just continue doing it.
So the fun thing is that people used to talk about self-doubt, and I was like, what's that?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point we
but
all did it.
I figured it out a few years ago, and I'm like, oh. And then Jade was like, come on, girl. We can do this. We can do this.
I know, wait. I think by exactly, we don't have time for this one deadline.
That's true.
We don't have time. And I don't mean I didn't validate the feelings, but the thing is, when you have a friend or you have your writing community, because let's be honest, like, because we understand each other's struggles because we're writing now together and we understand, like, edits come back and you're like, oh, that was my favorite line. Why would you cut that? Like, we understand it. But as other writers always say, like, when you have a writing community, be it like your critique partner or be it like maybe you're just in a writing group, having those people that understand what you're talking about, you're like, I got a bad review. And other people will look at you and be like, everybody gets a bad review, get over it. And then other authors will weep with you. I'm so sorry, but it happens to us all. It's gonna be fine. Someone's gonna write you a 5-star review, you know, like,
yeah.
You have to have someone to talk to that gets it.
Yeah.
Or be in a Facebook, like whoever it is, and to talk about it, and like that helps, like that'll help you get over your self-doubt, that'll help you get over that bad review or that writer's block, because you'd be like, when somebody saves people's souls all the time and they'd be like, let me send you this writing prompt. And then you're like, oh, I can do this again, yay.
Awesome, guys, I love that response. So what do you want people to take away from your books? How do you want them to feel at the end of your stories?
Happy and or sad, depending on.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Yeah.
Like, okay, now if you're asking about the end of my widow's that story, I just want them to be like, oh my God.
I wanted to be the next one.
Yeah, I got to know what they did next. If you talk about the end of the poetry books,
happy and or sad.
Yeah. We really want them to like, well, not what we want. I'm gonna tell you what people have done. We did not. When we wrote them, we just wrote them, and because you know that poetry isn't going to get.
And it's subjective.
Yeah, that is right. Yeah.
But you feel how you feel with poetry.
Yeah, that is right.
But
I
can't.
So people have been like, it makes them look back at their life and be like, what have I done? Or a lot of times it will make people go, oh my goodness, I remember when this happened to me. And so like, I feel like when I read those reviews, I go, oh, so I found something. And then like somebody told Anna for being good overseas, they were like, I was laughing hysterically because absolutely I did that with my girlfriend. Absolutely, we probably shouldn't have done it. And absolutely, it was one of the best stories we've ever told.
Awesome. All right. So in terms of feedback that you've been getting from audiences so far, what type of feedback have you been getting? And has there been a certain audience that have really loved your books?
What type of feedback but And I Thought the Voice Was Bad. This is Jade talking. We got a lot of, we couldn't finish this book. It's a good book, but apparently I have some unresolved issues that I need to deal with because poetry has really touched my soul and I can't finish it right now because I haven't. We got a lot of that.
So yeah, I think we got a lot of that because the first poem is about a woman going through an is recovering, and people, society judging her because she's like didn't have a black eye. And then the second poem is about a child who lived in an abusive household, and then how they felt looking back on it years later. So if you've ever been in a relationship that you thought was slightly abusive, that it comes to get you like gut punch 1, 2. And so like that is normally our feedback. Like it was hard. It was
good.
It was therapy.
Yeah.
Put it down and I had to come back to it later. And we did not mean to do that. I apologize.
Awesome.
No, my favorite one was that it was actually on our second book. They wrote the review about it because they liked the series. They wrote a review that said the first book was the ladies bleeding on the page, and the second book is them like analyzing recovering but analyzing what happened.
Awesome, guys. And your other books, the poetry books that you've sort of written later on with sort of quirky comedy in it, what type of reviews have you gotten for them?
Someone said it was funny. They were like, this is very funny, and we didn't.
They're like, well, one person like watched our was a podcast listener, which is funny because like we have a podcast on a bunch of other stuff. So like a lot of people know us for a bunch of other stuff. And then they'll come to our book table, they'll come to see us because of either the podcast or they like our clothing line or something like that. And they'll walk up and they'll be like, you sell books? Who wrote them? And we're like, we did. And so like those fans bought some of the quirky comedy books, and they're always like, "This is so you."
That's great. So now that we've gone over your books a bit, you've got to tell us, are you planning on releasing a new book sometime soon? And if so, can you give us a little bit of insight into this book?
So yes, it's a murder mystery ghost book.
It's called "And I Thought I Knew You," and it's about a serial killer living in a cul-de-sac.
It's a very interesting book, and the editors, and then we're having some beta readers read it, because let me say this to all you authors out here: listen to your beta readers.
Yeah,
I give this on everyone that I ever get on. This is Jade, and you can look back and you can be like, she gives this speech. Listen to your beta readers, because if it wasn't for our beta readers, and I thought divorce was bad, wouldn't have life lessons, wouldn't have made the brand that we have today.
Yeah.
So listen to your beta readers. They know what they want to read. So
Yeah.
listen to them. You don't have to take all their advice, but take some of it.
So this one is a little bit of a departure for us, because
really
I write
quirky.
suspense novels, like the gangster ones are suspense thriller novels, and I love poetry. And so Jade was like, why don't we do a suspense thriller and poetry? I mean, considering that we've done like a poetry book that teaches you is a workbook for business. So we have a business poetry book.
Yeah, we do.
You go through and it'll help you set up your actual business. And we write poems about starting a business, and then you fill it out at the end. Right. And then we've written a poetry cocktail book, So it'll teach you how to make our signature drinks. So when she said a poetry mystery book, we went, why didn't that come to us earlier?
Because it's hard. That's why.
It's in a murder mystery book, you have characters and you have plot twists. And when you're writing poems, it's really hard. I'm not saying Canterbury Tales where the entire thing is one large poem. No, I mean different styles of poems that are telling different people's viewpoints of what's going on now. So without revealing who the actual killer is until the end.
So yes, y'all, it's still being edited and made back, because we have to what do we say? We're not trying to be great. We're just trying to get a C- on this.
Yeah, we are.
We just want 3-star reviews. We don't need 5. We just need 3.
Oh, guys, love it.
Best thing about this, so we give it to beta readers, and you forget that poetry is subjective,
right? Until they come back and tell you who they think did it. You're like, what? It was clearly wait, it's poetry.
And they're like, I felt like this, and I felt like that, and you're like, it's a myth. Oh, right. Poetry makes you feel. So it's kind of funny because each person is getting a different mystery out of the poetry mystery book.
Yep. So yeah, we're going for 3 stars, y'all. We're gonna be like, this is a 3-star book. We love it. We're going for it. We're hoping for 5, but we're gonna land on 3.
Lachlan, do you want to read it? No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I'll read it. I'm a thriller writer, so I'm in the same hemisphere. So definitely, I'm also ready.
Don't ever read the Widow's Death series.
Read the Widow's Death series. Read it. Okay.
All right, awesome, Jade and Wilnona. So finally, could you please share with us how people can get in contact with you and get a hands-on copy of your books?
Okay, I will definitely do that. This is Jade K, because I always wrap up our shows normally.
Yeah.
So you can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andithoughladies.com.
Awesome.
Can you tell I said that a couple hundred times?
Full stop.
Full
The
stop.
conversation has been awesome. Thank you so much for joining me today, guys. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. For everyone watching this video or listening to this podcast, if you haven't already, remember to check out the social media links for Jade and Wilnona below. I'll attach everything about them below in the description so you can check it out. Also, if you'd like to meet other awesome writers and learn about our journeys, don't forget to like and subscribe. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks heaps for watching. I'll catch you again soon. Cheers.